I'm going to go. I'm going to be active. I'm going to
Yeah.
be the first one to be like, okay, I'm going to go to the store because we're out of sodas. Who needs something?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just busy like running errands. Does it
Sure.
make sense?
Yeah, it does.
But I do love the beach.
That's fun.
I
love
do.
the beach.
So then he comes back and you guys go to Clarksville, Tennessee.
Yep.
And
We actually bought a house in Clarksville before he deployed because we're crazy.
okay. And then you were teaching high school.
Yep.
And I forgot what your degree was, as much research as I did. I can't remember what was it? Secondary
education and English.
Okay.
Yes.
Secondary. I wanted to say elementary, but secondary education.
Mm-hmm.
So you go in and you're teaching high school.
Yep.
Not middle school.
I taught middle school here for 1 year.
1 year.
And then I taught high school. Yep, at a public school. In
You
Clarksville.
taught middle school while he was away.
Before we got married.
Before you got married.
Yep.
Okay.
So when we got married, I was teaching at St. John's, actually, middle school kids.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
It was fun. It was a great job.
And so then I know I read somewhere your approach to teaching in Tennessee, but how did you? I mean, what was that like? I mean, I know the kids it's very different now, and you
Yeah.
probably never thought you would say that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you're the type that I'm not the one who would want to go back and relive my high school
No.
over. But what was that experience like?
It was hard. I felt like for me as a teacher, I had to pick because I taught a core subject, 11th grade English,
Yeah.
where what you learn in 11th grade English, you don't learn in 10th grade or 12th grade. You learn it and you move on. And you are learning how to write. And also taking the ACT and SAT. It's serious stuff. And so I felt like I had to pick between, am I their friend and the cool teacher, and I give them a pass, and this is just where they can come and flop and be welcomed, and they can take their problems off their shoulders that surely they have going on at home, or are they learning? And it seems when I say it out loud that there should be a middle ground, and I tried to find it, but typically it was really hard because they're kids, and it was tough.
Did you feel like they were very different than like your senior class and your senior class experience?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was it was just a very different school than Bob Jones. I mean, Clarksville is in general. So it was tough. I didn't feel like I had great support from the parents or families, and
did you build a rapport with the kids, you think?
I built a good rapport with the kids. I loved them dearly. I was also the cheerleading coach.
Yeah.
So I was really busy. I loved the kids. I still love those kids, even though they're like adults with their own kids now. But I also took it very seriously that I was teaching them skills that I wanted them. I was invested in their future, and I wanted to teach them. And so, according to the state of Tennessee, I was a 5-star teacher. Like, they actually gave out stars for meeting all these things and how the kids grew from the time, which sounded like this great accolade. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm not any of, I don't know if I'm anyone's favorite teacher. Does that make sense? I don't know if anyone's going to look back and say, well, I know Miss Despain cared, but like not that much. I don't know. It was this weird thing, which for me, I'm a very compassionate person. I would want those kids to know that I loved them, but I felt like I had to pick. It was hard.
Now, you may have just mentioned this and I missed it, but have any of them been in contact with you since?
Oh yeah, I'm Facebook friends with all of them.
And have they said something to the effect of, thank you for pushing me, or thank you for being a hard ass at times and not
really
letting us off easy?
No, not really. I mean, we keep in touch and, we comment on each other's stuff and sometimes joke about shenanigans from their high school times. But no, I don't think any of them like resent me or anything. Like, I tried to be a great teacher.
No,
and love them.
the other way around, where they're like, wow, you had such an influence on me. I didn't realize it at the time. I really...
Yeah, no. I mean, none of them have really come back to say that. So...
Well, here's your cheerleading coach little
my
bio.
Goodness.
Coach Despain. So how does that feel to hear that title?
It was a 1 year and done type of thing.
So this little bio that they do there, and
Yeah.
she was hired at West Creek High School to
Yep.
teach 10th grade English and coach cheerleading.
Yep.
She was a cheerleader of her own in middle school and high school.
Yep.
And there's where I found the thing with an all-star team for 2 years.
Yes. Yep. I think that was 8th and 9th grade. Yep.
Yeah, I was talking to, my son just graduated James Clemens.
Yeah.
And I was talking to, who was I talking to about? It might have been Joey. Where I was like, Joey, I don't remember that many kids having a 5.0. No one had a 5.0 when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe the number of kids who had a 4.0. And the question I had for him, and it wasn't like we were looking for an answer, but was like, are we being too lenient? Like, if I remember one time I didn't do summer reading. I was supposed to go into an AP government class. I was playing football. I went to Myrtle Beach with my buddies. I went to Ocean City, Maryland with my buddies. I didn't read the book.
Right.
And I come in the first day, and the teacher's like, well, you have until Friday.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, that's not going to happen.
First
game's Friday. We've got practice every day.
Priorities.
So I come in, and I'm like, I didn't read it. And she goes, okay, well, if you read it by the end of September, I'll give you at least a D+ on it.
Yeah, something.
I didn't do it, and then I dropped out.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, like, because my kids, I'm saying that because it's probably right there. My kids, it's like there'll be all these late work. The teacher will be like, hey, so Dylan hasn't turned in his assignments, and and it's like this long list. And then I'm like, what's going on? It was due last week. Oh, I'll get it done. And then presumably he turns them in, and he still passes, and it's not D's. You know what I mean? So I just wonder, like, is there that pressure on the teachers? Like, hey, we got to get these kids' grades up. We got to get scores are one thing. You can't sit there and take the test for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can try to prepare them, but
I'd be curious.
I just found it to be
day and age,
very interesting, the number of but kids, you know what? I saw a kid. I was talking to a kid yesterday.
Yeah.
He's 9 years old. He's playing chess on his phone.
Okay, 9.
Okay, he's playing chess. And I said to him, have you ever played checkers? And he looked at me like I was an alien. He's like, I've never heard of checkers.
But he's playing chess.
So maybe these kids are just smarter.
Just smarter.
They've grown up in an era where you can find
era.
out anything now.
True.
Do you even need to go to college? I could probably go to college on my phone.
Anything.
Right.
We didn't go to college to do what we're doing.
No.
Right?
Yeah, and sometimes I think with college is way overrated when it's like, okay, I went into a class. We had a book that the school decided to buy from somewhere, some textbook. We did some assignments. Sometimes they made it easier. We read this, we read that. Like, what does that really mean?
Yeah.
Does that mean I left like that much smarter?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've wondered that too. Like, do you need to do college anymore? I do think one argument, personal opinion for college, is that college, it's an experience. Mm-hmm. You learn a lot of life in between graduating high school and being a full-fledged adult. Kind of is this middle ground mm-hmm. where you just, honestly, I mean, you probably make more mistakes in college with all the things than you do any other time.
Yeah.
Which you need to make mistakes to figure out adulthood. But also, it teaches you discipline, which is necessary. Discipline is a huge part. Discipline and consistency and just showing up and balancing your own schedule and being self-motivated are huge components to success, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think you learn a lot of those skills in college.
I was going to say exactly the same points as far as it just prepares you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you mentioned at the very beginning, I think we were recording when asked about your workout, and you said you wake up at 4:27, you hit the snooze for 8 minutes.
Right.
Okay, well, you may not have been waking up at 4:27 at Alabama, but you were developing a routine.
Right.
And it could have been 6 a.m., it could have been 7 a.m., it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you had, and that's the most important thing. Can you overcome being alone, away from your family, having total freedom to do whatever you want to do? Can you stay in the lane, right, and still go to class and get grades because that's why you're there, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
Or do you just go totally out of control and next thing you know you're back at home or you're working because you weren't able to deal with the structure and the discipline that is required. And so I'm with you. I think that's really what it's there, is to prepare you for life and the career, right?
Unfortunately,
whatever the
it's
career
so
is
expensive these days.
Well, there's that
like
too.
there's that problem. They've about outpriced people.
That sours it.
Yeah, it really sours it for sure, which just makes it unattainable for a lot more people, which is hard, but that's another subject.
Yeah. All right, so now I'm really interested in Rachel's challenge.
Oh, my heart.
So Rachel Scott was the first victim on the Columbine shooting.
Shot and killed.
Shot and
Columbine.
killed. April 20th, 1999.
99. You
Gosh,
remember?
I do. I don't remember what I was doing that day necessarily, but I do remember it being what the Oklahoma City bombing was on the April 19th, 1995. And then there was something else that happened on April 19th. But, and so that to me was like, oh my gosh, what's going on with like, late April. But
Hitler's birthday.
Is it really?
It's April 20th.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
So how do you, so the idea here is the father of her
Daryl
starts a foundation in a way, and she had a lot of great qualities. And you know what? Actually, let me do this first. Let's read from something that's on their website.
She's amazing.
Let